Well, they all stand for this game at first, trying to push it, trying to say it was going to be great. We saw IGN saying it was one of the best Dragon Ages ever. They gave it a 9 out of 10. And now, as the dust has settled and people have actually played this game at these companies, well, guess what? They're now saying that Dragon Age, the Veilguard, is terrible, and they're even done with BioWare. This is a big, big deal coming from PC Gamer's editor. It's such a shift in the culture. I feel like these legacy media companies know that they've lost to places like Fandom Pulse here, which is us, because we tell the truth about what's going on with video games and in the culture, and these people have got caught with their pants down so many times, caught standing for these companies in very clear pay-to-play situations that nobody trusts them anymore. And for good reason. Well, here we are. We're a month into this. Dragon Age has been a complete failure for BioWare. They've moved on to Mass Effect and they're hoping that's going to save their company at this point. I don't think it's going to. As the age of bloated AAA games failing because of their wokeness continues, and it's going to keep continuing until we can get all of these gone. All right, hit the like and subscribe button, everybody. Join us here as we talk about all things in the culture, especially with fantasy stuff like Dragon Age. This is our Fandom Pulse Substack. Sign up in the description below. Don't miss a news article every morning, my friends. And also, I am a fantasy writer myself. This is my for Steam and Country. I don't know why Amazon's got it grayed out right now. Weird stuff on Amazon. Thanks. But I have a 6-book series. If you like the original Dragon Age, if you like that kind of steampunky feel, I think you'll really enjoy this series. It's a 6-book series. It's airship adventuring, fighting against monsters. It's in the description below. It's available on ebook, print, and audio to make it easy for you. Thank you so much for supporting and making us such a great seller this year. And yes, grab that and support our channel. Thanks so much. So PC Gamer's online editor Fraser Brown bashed Dragon Age the Veilguard, declared he's done with BioWare moving forward. In an article titled, "After Years of Holding Out Hope, 2024 was the year I finally gave up on BioWare." Gosh, just now, bro? Brown documented his history with BioWare and Dragon Age. After spending so much of the article explaining his history with the company, the franchise, he then tore into the Veilguard, declaring, "I really tried to enjoy myself. God, I tried so hard. I attempted to find nuggets of joy within this ham-fisted dialogue." Listen to this. Even PC Gamer is agreeing that the dialogue is ham-fisted with their woke nonsense, guys. This is a huge, huge turning in video game media right now. One-note companions and then flashy but soulless fights, I couldn't do it. Every time there's been a glimmer of hope, it was dashed against rocks of infinite disappointment. He continued, "Honestly, I'm amazed I finished it." I am too. It was certainly a point where I was starting to feel like I'd rather do anything other than listen to a hot gray warden talk about his dumb bird for the 100th time, or play therapist to a giant dragon slayer who just wants to moan about how their mom doesn't understand them. These should be great characters. The veteran knight reclaiming his order's lost legacy, a proud warrior wrestling with their cultural and gender identity. There's so much good stuff to mine here, but nope, they're just plain boring, all of them. Nevertheless, after bashing the game, Brown made it clear he's done with BioWare moving forward. When I got to the final cutscene that teased what we can expect from the next Dragon Age, it really sealed the deal. I'm out. BioWare just isn't telling stories I care about anymore. Instead of moping around, I'm moving on. BioWare has had an exceptional run, but that developer's long gone. What's left is just an EA studio making middling games I'm not really interested in. Absolutely. Interestingly enough, Brown previously panned the game when it was released at the end of October, though not as harsh as this. Instead, he compared the game to Marvel's Avengers. It's polished, competent BioWare action RPG that follows safe, conventional pattern. The old BioWare magic has been codified and sanitized, now feels dated, even more so than BioWare's pretty old RPGs. It's a broad, predictable, and inoffensive as a crowd-pleasing Marvel movie. All flashy, clean, easy to digest, so it has the power to be entertaining, but it never in a way that will stick with you. There are no big swings, no big risks, no shocks. While I've enjoyed some of it, for most of my fourth trip across Thetis, I have been left pretty bored. Brown's more harsh comments came in the wake of a number of pieces of evidence that indicate the game's sales are not good. First, the game director, a man who pretends to be a woman and uses the name Corinne Bush, shut down the question about the game's commercial success. They're pretending it's a success still. Asked by Eurogamer, how has the commercial response to the game been? I've seen stories about the sales. They seem mixed and conclusive. The game seems to be doing okay, but struggling to keep pace with Inquisition before it. Has it been a success from your point of view? How do you measure that? He responded, "There's three axes we can measure this by: what the team was able to do and put together, the pride they can take in that." You listen to this. It's always about pride with these people, isn't it? Every game that's made, especially AAA space, when you're talking about hundreds of developers' timelines, is a miracle. That they executed at quality internally, we consider that a success. So, participation trophy for Dragon Age: The Veilguard, even internally, they know that the sales are not there. They know that it's a failure, but they can't admit it because SJWs never admit their own failures. They always double down. They never want to self-reflect. They're always going to move on to the next thing and just try even harder at the wokeness. And this is why they fail every single time. And this is why they have to fail every single time. We need to get this kind of thing out of gaming because it's ruining too much stuff at this point. These AAA studios have huge, bloated, massive, awful studios at this point, just filled with completely incompetent people who don't know how to make video games, who don't understand gamers, don't understand their target demographic, that are constantly chasing these modern audiences that aren't there. They're hoping if they throw some dialogue in about like gender pronouns or whatever, that it's going to manipulate the culture. I mean, this is not what people want out of their entertainment time. Very pure, very obvious. That's why games like this fail. So here we go. Unfortunately, on the sales side, that's not something we can really discuss. But of course, as we know with Inquisition, that was a long burn to get out those total sales numbers. So they're hoping there's going to be a long burn that, like, word of mouth gets this game going. It's quite the opposite, though. As word of mouth goes and word of mouth continues about this game, about Dragon Age: The Veilguard, everybody knows that it's a complete failure and no people are starting to play it at this point. It's really dying. So the head of games industry, Christopher Dring, revealed one of the company's podcasts that Veilguard was only the 68th best-selling title for the year in Europe. Painful. Ouch. Dragon Age: The Veilguard came out at the end of October, was number 19 on the best-selling new game chart, but was number 68 overall. It was Christmas. In terms of a AAA blockbuster, the traditional big blockbuster Christmas games, you had Call of Duty, which did really well, and you had Dragon Age, which did not. So that is disappointing in that position. Dragon Age had the market to itself, could not find an audience. That's really scary as we move into the following year. Of course, Dring also detailed games such as Black Myth Wukong and Palworld were not on the European charts, but he cited their digital sales data had not been provided, so it's likely it was even lower down the real list. Absolutely crazy. On Steam's top 100 of 2024, the Veilguard was in the bronze bucket, which means that it was somewhere between 51 and 100 also. It's unclear how far down the list because Steam only sorts the titles into buckets, then randomizes those titles within buckets, so you don't know exactly where it's at. You can't compare them right now. Steam has a lot of good data for the most part, but this is the one spot where they do kind of sweep for these companies. And companies have told me, I've had an insider tell me that they want the Steam rankings and the sales rankings and the player rankings all removed because what's happening is people like me are reporting on it and getting the information to you, and they don't want that to actually happen because if people actually see the real data, real information, it impacts them, and they want to be able to control the narrative better going into 2025. So I'm hearing that studios are actually going to start leaning on Steam to not give data. I don't know if Steam's going to give into that. Steam might be a little too powerful for them to strong arm or anything like that. But not good because whenever you're trying to hide things, whenever you're trying to be less transparent, it's a tell that you know that what you're doing is bad, you know what you're doing is failing, and you know that going forward you have to make changes, and you just don't want to. These people want to drag their feet in the mud. Now, remember, we've got a couple of years to flatten the curve on this stuff, guys. It's going to take 2-3 years to flush out all these games that are in development. We've got Intergalactic and The Witcher 4 on the way that have done the exact same thing as Dragon Age: The Veilguard. They are pushing into the woke agenda. They've been developing it for a couple of years, doing just that, and they're going to bastardize the Witcher lore, much like Dragon Age bastardized its lore as well. So don't buy those games, and let's keep our boycott going, my friends, and really appreciate you for being there. All right, leave a comment down below. What do you think about this? I think it's huge that the media is actually turning on Dragon Age: The Veilguard after its failure. This is showing that we've rattled the media just by commentating on this stuff and being honest about it up front. They couldn't compete with us, and now they're trying to be like, okay, maybe we should actually appeal to gamers again. It's good stuff. Please sign up for the Fandom Pulse Substack in the description below and grab my book for Steam and Country and grab the whole series, guys. You're going to love this great series all the way through. It gets better with each book, and I appreciate you all for being great readers. It's in the description below.